For those of us interested in trains, London Euston in 1986 was a fascinating place. Unfortunately, the original Euston station had been redeveloped during the 1960s as part of the West Coast electrification scheme. The redevelopment, which included the demolition of the fabled Euston Arch, resulted in a functional yet, some would say, rather austere station. However, that same criticism could not be levelled at the trains in 1986. The vast majority of services were in the hands of AC Electrics, with traditional local hauled rakes. There were no Pendolinos or Hitachis to be seen, and even the Mark III push-pull sets using DVTs would not appear for another 3 years. There were light engine movements aplenty, and shunting manoeuvres, whilst not commonplace, did still occur, as illustrated here by Willesden-based 08454, handling a single Mark II air-conditioned coach. 85029 propels a rake of Mark Is into the platform. This train will form the 1714 departure for Northampton. The main carriage sidings for London Euston were at Wembley, close to Willesden Depot, about 7 miles or 10 kilometres away, but coaches were also stored at the Euston downside carriage sheds, from where they could be propelled into the station. 86207 City of Lichfield departs with train number 1G38, the 1640 service for Wolverhampton. The regular loco hauled intercity service to Wolverhampton provided an express service to the Black Country. These trains often had very limited intermediate stops, sometimes only calling at Coventry, Birmingham International and Birmingham New Street. An alternative semi-fast service between Birmingham and Euston was provided by Class 310 EMUs, as seen here with an arriving 8-coach formation. Running at a maximum speed of 75 miles an hour or 120 kilometres an hour, these trains would make additional stops at stations such as Rugby, Milton Keynes and Northampton. City of Lichfield and its train begin the ascent of Camden Bank, an incline a little over a mile in length with a ruling gradient of 1 in 85, rising to 1 in 66 in parts. So steep that between 1837 and 1844 trains were cable hauled as far as Camden. 86243 the Boys Brigade has charge of train number 1P38, the 1645 to Blackpool North. This train, which comprises Mark II second class accommodation and Mark III first class accommodation, ran 7 days a week. However, Monday through Friday, it ran under the prestigious banner of the Lancashire Pullman. Included in the rake was a Mark I RKB or restaurant kitchen buffet, and passengers in first class were treated to a full at-seat meal service. The corresponding up Lancashire Pullman had left Blackpool North at 06:30 in the morning. Most of the 15-strong fleet of Class 83 locomotives had been withdrawn by 1983. However, Willesden Depot retained 3 examples of the class, including 83009 seen here. They were employed exclusively on empty stock work until their final withdrawal in 1989. Interestingly, between 1983 and 1984, 009 had seen use at Longsight Depot in Manchester. It had effectively been used as a static rectifier, converting the overhead 25 kV AC supply to 1500 volts DC, allowing the Hadfield 506 EMUs to be maintained at the depot following the closure of Reddish in 1983. 87016 Sir Francis Drake propels a rake of Mark III coaches from Euston down carriage sidings into the terminus. This train will form the 1735 to Glasgow Central. (86417) the Kingsman leaves with service 1F40, the 1655 to Liverpool Lime Street. This train is another perfect example of the variety of coaching stock used on frontline expresses at the time. It comprises both Mark III and Mark II air-conditioned vehicles in intercity livery and blue and grey, along with a Mark I BG or guards vehicle and a Mark I catering vehicle. In the background, another Class 86 leaves with 1H20, the 1700 to Manchester Piccadilly. The lead vehicle being a Mark II pressure ventilated BSO or brake second open. Class 87 leaves with service 1D66, the 1703 to Holyhead. This train was unusual in that it included Mark III sleepers in the consist. However, the sleeping berths would not be occupied until the return journey from Holyhead. That train, which left the North Wales port at 01:15 and was titled the Irish Mail, connected with the late Sea-Link service from Dunleary. A traveller was therefore able to leave Dublin at around 8 o'clock in the evening and arrive in London the following morning. The departure of the Liverpool service has released 86258 Talachlin from captivity at the buffer stops. Likewise, this intercity liveried Class 86 was released by the departure of the Holyhead service. For the casual observer, this was another fascinating feature of the operation of terminus stations at this time. But for the train operating companies, it meant extra motive power requirements, as well as the need for twice as many train movements. It's not hard to appreciate why so many train operators chose to move over to fixed formation, push-pull operation and multiple units. Class 86, number 86259 Peter Pan, departs with 1G35, the 1710 service to Wolverhampton. In the background, yet another Class 86 makes its way to the platform end, having been released by the departure of the Manchester train. It's worth noting that all of the train movements featured in this video take place within a 90-minute window. Such was the intensity of activity around Euston at this time. Having become so used to pre-recorded announcements on platforms and trains, it's interesting to remember that back in 1986, many stations still employed a station announcer. In this next clip, we can hear these live announcements over the tannoy, as 85029 Leads out service 1B06, the 1714 to Northampton.
Platform 2, Causeway Rugby, Nuneaton, Tamworth, Lichfield, Stafford, Crewe, Warrington, Wigan and Preston. Platform 2, 1728 to Preston. 1740 to Shrewsbury will depart from platform 4. This is a platform alteration. Causeway Coventry, Birmingham International, Birmingham Euston, Salmon and Dudley, Wolverhampton, Telford Central, Wellington and Shrewsbury. Alteration subjects will be available on the train.
86224 Caledonian heads 1B07, the 1718 to Bletchley. Another 8-car Class 310 formation arrives from the north. Originally introduced as Class AM10 in 1965, these units were based on the standard Mark II body shell, complete with B4 bogies. The 3-car Class 313 dual voltage electric units had replaced the Class 501s just a year earlier on the Euston to Watford DC lines. 86405 arrives with a train from the north, comprising mainly Mark III coaches, including a Mark III catering vehicle. 28 of these unclassified restaurant buffets, or RUBs, were introduced to the West Coast Main Line in 1979 and 1980. 87016 Sir Francis Drake departs with train number 1S89, the 1735 to Glasgow Central. Intriguingly, this train, comprised of Mark III first and second class opens and a Mark I BG, doesn't appear to have a catering vehicle, something which was very unusual for a journey of over 5.5 hours. According to the Thomas Cook International Timetable, however, it should have conveyed full dining facilities. One is therefore left to surmise whether a defective vehicle had been removed from the rake. 86429, The Times, departs with train number 1D37, the 1740 to Shrewsbury. Just a few weeks later, this loco will be destroyed in a terrible crash at College Junction in Staffordshire. (86432) has charge of 1B08, the 1745 to Northampton. Known colloquially as cobblers, these commuter services to Northampton and Bletchley were formed entirely of Mark I stock, painted later in Network South East livery as illustrated by the lead vehicle in this rake. Many of the travellers were daily commuters, and by all accounts a strong community spirit grew up on board. Passengers have fond recollections of organised activities such as language classes and chess clubs. Alan's trusty bicycle makes a rare appearance in one of these videos, as 86248 Sir Clwyd, County of Clwyd, departs with train 1H21, the 1750 Manchester Pullman. This rake includes 2 catering vehicles, a Mark III buffet and a Mark I restaurant kitchen. The latter vehicle being used for the preparation of sumptuous meals for those lucky enough to be travelling in the first class named Pullman cars. '85007 propels a rake of Mark Is from Euston carriage sidings into the platform. This train will form the 1815 to Northampton. If you've enjoyed this video, please click like and perhaps consider subscribing to the channel. And please leave any thoughts and comments below. It's always great to hear how nostalgic people find these films and how many wonderful memories they bring back. And you can watch all 51 episodes of Alan's Adventures without any commentary, just great engine sounds, at the Alan Harrison collection here on KARTWHEELKARL. Until next time, thanks for watching.